It does seem like the Bud Light boycott is working pretty well, especially according to experts, according to people who are out in the field, employees of Bud Light and Anheuser Busch who are taking videos showing the stock of Bud Light, showing that, these viral TikToks are going around, showing people making fun of Bud Light, showing how much Bud Light is actually in stock in comparison to other beers like Coors and Miller. And experts are even saying the same thing that those videos are saying, because some people are saying that those are paid actors to try to make us feel bad for Bud Light and Anheuser Busch. I don't think so. I don't think it is, because experts are even coming out and saying, and you can just look at the sales numbers that they're putting out as well, that Coors and Miller sales are astronomically rising right now, while the Bud Light sales are falling. And it's because of only things that Bud Light and Anheuser Busch themselves are doing. They're burying their own brands while also propping up other beer brands such as Coors and Miller, and obviously many other beer brands that people are turning to because they can no longer drink Bud Light without getting roasted, without getting made fun of. Like, you're not going to see, personally, if I drink beer, I wouldn't be caught dead walking out of the store with a box of Bud Light. It's just not going to happen. And I think many other people who have any sort of social media are thinking the same way as I do. Even mainstream news people, if you watch mainstream news, you understand what's going on with Bud Light. But I think the social pressure from having apps like TikTok, from seeing the tweets and things like that, from seeing the YouTube videos, if you watch any of that stuff, you're not going to be caught dead walking out of the store with a box of Bud Light, because you understand the social pressure. And honestly, I think boycotts out of social pressure are much more effective than boycotts just straight up out of principle. I think social pressure is definitely a lot stronger than just having good principles and morals nowadays, because people, for some reason, value their social status, how society views them, a lot more than their own values and principles. So either way, the boycott does seem to be successful, according to this article, the Epoch Times, and according to a lot of other experts as well. Bud Light sales declined in the first week of a conservative-led boycott of the brand. And I don't even think it's just a conservative-led boycott. I think it's just anybody who has morals and values. And like I said, the social pressure of the people who have the morals and values, putting it out there, putting it on TikTok, putting it on YouTube and Twitter and everything like that. It's not just a conservative-led it's maybe a conservative-led boycott, but it's definitely not just conservatives that are boycotting the Bud Light brand. It's just anybody who's not an absolute lunatic of the brand. After I partnered with the transgender activist, as you know, we refer to this person here, he who shall not be named anymore on YouTube. We will refer to him as Mr. Vaney, okay? That name right there. According to analysis, Dave Williams and Bump Williams Consulting told industry website Brewbound that packages of Bud Light showed accelerating declines in sales and shares for the week ending in April 8th. When the boycott started to pick up steam, he cited NIQ data for his assertion. That being said, while the increased declines for Bud Light were apparent, they were also not completely earth-shattering in terms of magnitude. And we knew that. We knew that it would be very hard for, to bring down an entire corporation. Like, it's extremely hard to do that, especially when we're only targeting one beer. Obviously, I think that a lot of people out there who are watching these videos and things like that daily, by the way, if you could please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below how you're feeling about this entire thing, because we do want to keep this conversation going. We do want to keep spreading these videos out there. So if you are supporting the boycott, the best thing that you can do right now is like this video and leave a comment for the algorithm. Anyway, we knew that it was going to be pretty difficult to have an entire corporation and Anheuser Busch really hurting from the situation, but we knew that it was also possible, because a lot of people out there are very angry about this, and it's really not that hard to just switch beer brands. It's not like Bud Light and Anheuser Busch are selling these like really prestigious beer, high quality beer. It's not that different from a lot of the other beers that are in the same tier. So it's not that hard to switch from beer to beer. It's really just not that difficult. So we knew that this was a good opportunity for us to actually make one of these bigger corporations hurt. And I think we actually are doing that. But like they said, it's not earth shattering yet. But I think once we see these big gas stations, grocery stores not restocking in a couple months, in the months to come, once we see that happening, I think it might actually be earth shattering for Anheuser Busch. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not an expert on this. Now, this will be interesting to monitor over upcoming weeks to see if this slide continues, but for now, it looks to be rough, but not catastrophic. And I think personally, I'm not going to let this conversation die. I'm going to keep talking about it as long as people keep supporting the videos, as long as people keep watching. I will keep talking about it. I'm going to keep tweeting about it and all that. I'm going to try my best to keep this conversation going, and I think a lot of other people feel the same way. So hopefully we can make it become catastrophic and not just rough in the coming weeks. We'll see. Bud Light posted a 7% decline in off-premise dollar sales, a 10.7% decline in volume, and a 3.7% decline in dollar shares. He wrote, the company saw a 1.6% decline in dollar sales, a 6.4% decline in volume, and a 0.7% decline in dollar shares for the prior week. On the surface, the trends for Bud Light definitely do show some variance when it comes to sales, with some showing sharper declines in the L1W versus others, Williams said. On top of just dollar trends, though, it's been Bud Light's share of the premium segment for L1W that tells a pretty consistent story where Bud Light lost share to a more notable degree to its competitors. The light beer's competitors saw their shares and sales increase, he said. Coors Light increased its dollar sales by 10.7%. We all know the numbers. I said it in my last video. I don't need to go over the exact numbers, but you know that Coors and Miller sales are increasing pretty dramatically, while Bud Light sales are obviously dropping off the face of the earth. And we also have a lot of influencers out there who originally weren't behind the Bud Light boycott who are now jumping on board, which I guess, we'll welcome them on because it can further the mission. But at the same time, you have to question their actual integrity and why they're actually flipping sides. Is it just because this is the side that's winning now, or is it because they actually assess the situation differently and realize that Bud Light was actually making some pretty bad moves when it came to the Mr. Vanny stuff? Who knows? I'm not 100% sure. I do welcome them because I do think it can further the mission. So I'm glad that Joe Rogan jumped on our side of things. And hopefully it's because he realized that what Bud Light was doing was wrong and that we actually do need to take a stand against these sort of things. But I don't know. It's really hard for me to tell. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about that. But Joe Rogan mocks Budweiser's patriotic ad as desperate attempt to change the topic. I did make a video on that yesterday if you want to see the entire clip of him mocking the new patriotic ad from Budweiser, which was an absolute joke, by the way. Obviously, very embarrassing of them. And it was a desperate attempt, a very obvious desperate attempt to gain the fans back, to gain the consumers back that they lost with the Mr. Vanny stuff. And it's not going to work. The only thing that ad did was piss off both sides even more, because not only did you absolutely get rid of every single piece of good favor, if you gained any, you got rid of it all, from the Mr. Vanny stuff. If you gained any good favor from that type of people that you were trying to gain good favor from, you lost it all with that new Budweiser ad. And you also pissed off the people who you were trying to pander to with that ad even more, because it makes them feel like you think that they're stupid. Like, it makes me and probably you watching this video feel like Bud Light and Budweiser and Anheuser Busch think we're even more stupid than we thought previously. So that ad accomplished absolutely nothing. We're also seeing that ad played in a lot more places now. I saw it on ESPN yesterday when I was watching, I forgot what I was watching, some sport event, and I saw it pop up on ESPN. I started laughing, and a lot of people are reporting that they're seeing that ad pop up all over the place now. So that wasn't just a Twitter ad. That wasn't just a little Twitter video that they put out. It's popping up everywhere now. I tweeted this out, by the way. I would appreciate a follow on Twitter if you feel like doing that. Almost at 1,000 followers. It's Justin Lost with 2 T's. The link will be in the pinned comment as well. Here is from the Zed Tribune. I said this might be the worst Bud Light stock check yet. Take a look at this. It is pretty bad, dude. This is one of the worst ones that I've seen so far. Look at all that Bud Light there, dude. In comparison to the Coors and Miller right there, pretty empty. As you can see, the Coors and Miller pretty empty, and Bud Light and Budweiser completely full. So it is looking really bad, dude. It looks like the Bud Light boycott is in fact working extremely well. Not just a little bit. It's not just a little dent. Like the article said, it looks like this could end up being catastrophic if the slide continues for weeks and weeks and months. And I think we have a good opportunity here to actually make that happen. Let me know what you guys think, though. Do you think that this will actually end up being catastrophic for Anheuser Busch and Bud Light? Or do you think it will just be a couple more weeks of people talking about it and it will eventually fade out? Let me know how you're feeling in the comments.